Hello and welcome. These are horse racing selections for Thursday, the 25th of May. I am Flat Cap Callum and I'm hoping you are all very, very well. All right, I promise it won't be as long as last night. I just had a lot of things to talk about. It went on for blinking ages. I think it was a bit here, there and everywhere. Hopefully some of it was fairly salient at points and useful enough for some. But yeah. Less chat tonight. That's the aim. So what we got Thursday's bets. There's 6 meetings and there's some decent fields in places. I just haven't found a lot, to be honest. And I got 5. So I've got 5. They're all going in one bet. So it's a lucky 31 half stake day with an additional double on the last 2, which are marginally better from a value perspective. So for those of you like a bit of a dreamy bet, who There's all good and well dreaming about 4 on a lucky 15, but what about 5 on a lucky 31? Who knows? So Thursday is dreamy bet day, I think. That is what I will call it. So we'll go through that. I'll go through Wednesdays and just a little bit of commentary about the ground at the moment and what this week is looking like. I think that's kind of the main things. But yes, aiming just to keep the chat light tonight after last night's like some sort of George Orwell novel. I don't know. So how did we do on the quiet Wednesday? We had 5 on. We got 220 back. So no great shakes. Golden Valor ran okay. I think it was one of those ones where it had some form over a mile, slightly better form over further, and if you judged it purely on that run, I think given it 9-10 furlongs, it probably would have caught up to the leaders. So it wasn't quite close enough for a place. Protected Guest got pulled out after being backed in. Bug Boy started horribly. That was an absolute horrible start if you watch that race back. You just thought you were absolutely cooked at that point. But it finished in a bunch finish for places. Came out 4th, which most bookies paid. So we've got 220 back. For the £3.50 investment there for a place and a non-runner, and then we're unfortunate in bet 2 because we won't know about what happened in leg 2 because leg 1 and leg 3 both won comfortably. Leg 2, when the race was starting to get interesting, fell. So nothing back because it was a straight up treble because they were just shorties. I don't do those bets very often, and it's sort of a bit of a filler, to be honest. They're not that I don't believe them to be profitable, but the margin long term is super small when comparing it to what I'm doing with Lucky 15 bets, where the margin is much greater. So there was a question. I think it was Mick was asking me. I've written a fairly full response in the comments on Wednesday's video, so feel free to go and have a look. But just asking me the question, he couldn't remember the last time we hit a win double on a combination double, and was asking did I have stats comparing combination doubles versus lucky 15s, and certainly all the big wins on the channel have been lucky 15s, but that being said, it would be a pretty good double if you were going to win over £100 back on it. But I did look back in the last sort of couple of months. I went back to the 18th of March, which was Midlands Grand National Saturday after Cheltenham Festival, because we hit a win double there, the Midlands Grand National in the race after, and we've hit one since then on Sunday Series at Musselburgh. And then in between times, there have been 40 other attempts at a combination double, and in 12 of those 40, we've had a decent price winner in one half of those doubles. There's been plenty of place doubles along the way that sort of turns it over, but there's greater potential with a lucky 15 bet. So I like to mix it up and I like to put variety, which is why I guess you kind of see my trademark bets are lucky 15s, win trixies, combination doubles, but not necessarily always just a 2 and 2. And then if I'm having a little go, then obviously the each way fourfold combination, four races, 8 horses. Those are kind of how I'm kind of working it for the channel. But then, there's things I put a pattern on yesterday and a win treble, so who knows? Anyway, that's that. So we start the week with a £2.80 loss, so nothing too bad. I'll crack straight into the Thursday bet. This is what I've gone with in the end, and I've got no substitutions. These are the 5 horses I like. If any of them are non-runners, then it converts to a lucky 15, and that's what we've got. So 4:10 Catterick hijacked. That race Sky 4 only Coral are 4 of the only, but I think there's like another one, it might be like Unibet or something. But of the major bookies, Sky and Coral are the only ones paying 4 on that one. But because of other place terms, I haven't put Coral as a favourable bookie. So just to flag, if you want a single on that one and you haven't got Sky, go do that at Coral. So Hijacked in the 4.10 to kick us off. 4.40 Catterick, Lafayette? I don't know. I mean, I'm just pretending that I speak French. 20 to 1. Just a word on that race. We're in that part of the season now where 3-year-olds, they're not just 3-year-old only handicaps. You get handicaps in the UK. It starts in Ireland a bit earlier than the season, but in the UK now we're starting to get handicaps where 3-year-old upwards. And it's a real watch out. So all the top horses in the betting in that race are 3-year-olds. That horse is a 4-year-old. It's a bigger price artificially because often what you find in these early races of the season where you've got 3-year-olds entering with older horse handicaps, the 3-year-olds are artificially higher in the betting because there's a perception from the bookmakers when they set it down that the 3-year-old races have got more chance to progress. Therefore, they are weighting that their chance is higher. So that the angle here is to try and look, and that is 20 to 1 by the way, not a 2011. The angle here is to try and look at, can you get another horse? This is a 4-year-old horse that I think is still a little bit more on the unexposed side. So I think it's offering value at 20 to 1. I think you can get 25s, 365 if you like a single. There's no extra places on that one. Then we've got 7 o'clock Limerick, 16 runner handicap there. Very low grade, mentioned about this the other day. I really like the betting structure. I just didn't much like the horses, to be honest. So that if you go past the front 3 in the betting, then it's really worth having a look for what you might like at value. I'm not strong on that one, but I think it's best of a bad bunch because it's run 3 times over Chase, smidgen further than today, so that's a bit of a watch out, but it has run competitively all 3 times in Chase handicaps and on a variety of ground. It's just whether or not going back slightly down in distance is going to prove okay or not for it. So best of a bad bunch. And then we're going 8.42 Sandown. So Sky are 6 here. Most bookies are 5. So it's a big field handicap, but it's 3-year-old only handicap. And for those viewers who've been around quite a while, if I cast your mind back, because when I looked at this horse, I was like, oh yeah, that looks familiar. New Day Rel. So the 4th of August 2022, tipped it up and we backed it first time out on debut. It was running over course and distance on good to firm going. So we've got course, distance and going all the same here. It was running against 2 horses that looked top class on paper. And I said that this one on breeding is actually a lot better than the price. The Sky price I got for the channel was 80s, but it was widely available on it was available on 365, which is what I talked about on the time, for 125. So quite a few people might remember backing this horse on 365 at 125 to 1 if you've been watching the channel since the beginning of August. It ran a really gallant race and the top 2 were absolutely much better than it, and it was solidly 3rd. That form is much better than the handicap mark suggests it is currently. Now the problem with that is next time out it ran over soft ground and it didn't seem to like it, and then they tried it over much further and all weather. I think once they understood that that horse had potential, they just put a couple of runs into it and then shut it away for the winter, and they're going to bring it out here. And I think that horse is going to be really progressive this season if I read it right. It's a full brother to New Graduate, I think it's called New Graduate, which basically, if you read the form of that horse, that was a decent enough 2-year-old. It ran 3 times. It did win one of them. It was rated higher as a 2-year-old than New Day Rel. Then it came out first time in a handicap as a 3-year-old and absolutely spanked the field by 5 lengths, and was given a mark I think it was rated 112 for that run. So this horse is a full brother to a horse that's much, much better than what this has shown so far. So I think there's real potential in here, and I think it's dropped in. I really like that price. And there's nothing else, if I look through the race, that I'm quite strong on. I may prove to be completely wrong read of it, but the full brother also excellent on good and firm going, did not like soft going. So all of the pointers are saying that that's actually a lot better than what you think. It will get overlooked because it's running first time out, and the last couple of times it wasn't so good. But yeah, it's not necessarily what I'd say is a normal pick, because I've had to go to what I often talk about is second tier. Because on first tier, when you go through those 3 odd handicaps, you don't always notice stuff. You have to go into and really look at the detail. But the name caught my attention because I remembered it from before, and I went back and looked at the old video and was like, oh yeah, okay, see where that happened. Sadly, when I tipped it 80-1, we just had it as single and nothing else. Anyway, finishing off 852 Chelmsford, bold and loyal. Inconsistent horse is how you would read the form. If you read the Chelmsford form over 10 furlongs, it seems to prefer that course and distance. So we're taking it on the benefit of, yes, it looks inconsistent, but a Chelmsford 10 furlongs less, so more actually consistent than anything else. So 15p each way, lucky 31. That's £9.30, and then there's 70p left over, so we're sticking on the 35p each way double on the bottom two, so it's going to be a late one in terms of finishing off this bet. So got a couple in the Catterick at sort of the 10 past 4, 4:40, then we've got 7 o'clock tea time, then we've got a big jump for the last two. So if the last 3 have gone down, at least we've got something to potentially get to for the last 2, because we've got an additional double on it as well. So if the last 3 go down, we could get we could get the last 2 placed and still do all right for the day. So Sky are best, because you've got here an extra place there, an extra place there. As I said, Coral playing that too, but most others aren't. No extras there. 5 there with a lot of others, and there's 6 there. Most others are 5. So Sky, then 365 or Paddy. If you were doing 365 or Paddy, right after this video, 365 prices are better. Overall, there's some not quite, but overall the bet's better with 365 over Paddy straight after this is uploaded. All right, that is that. And then just on the ground, it's already gone too far the other way. It was only felt like yesterday we were worried about soft going and heavy going, and it was getting good. And now we've just had a little dry spell, and already most of the tracks, particularly in the UK, are starting to read firm in the going. The downside with firm in the going is twofold. One, you don't get that many meetings over the year that end up being firm, so you find it harder to read the form. So you've kind of got to go on good. When you just look at, it ran well on good, sometimes it can be bouncy good, and it can be close to good to soft. Sometimes it can be really hard good and be good to close to good to firm. So you've got a range within the ground that is good. So then you kind of got to make a judgment. Okay, how important is it that the horses that you're looking at have got good to firm? Because you want a horse that's got firm going, ideally, but not essentially. So that's tricky to navigate. The other thing that's frustrating when it goes to firm is you generally then start to get lower field sizes, because less trainers are happy putting their horses out. A, because they will say it's too hard for them. They don't have a preference for really hard ground. And secondly, some trainers understandably don't put their horses in on the harder ground from a safety point of view, because they're concerned about a horse getting an injury from the ground being too hard, or indeed a jockey, not specifically a trainer worrying about a specific jockey, but if jockeys fall off, even on the, it happens sometimes on the flat, it's less good on the firm growing, because it hurts. Apparently, I've never fallen off a horse, but I understand it does really hurt, and you break yourself, and it's dangerous. Anywho, so the longer the sunny spell goes on, we'll all be enjoying ourselves in the sunshine. However, the racing field sizes will start to go down, because less and less people will want that. So it's nice having a sunny spell, but from a horse point of view, you want a little bit of moisture in the ground, or at least you want some of the tracks to be watering a little bit. So you want more like good ground. So that's my sort of thoughts and worries about this week. We've only had £5 on Wednesday, £10 Thursday. Friday looks a bit better, as long as I find some things in Ireland in the evening, I think, because the daytime UK stuff doesn't look great. And then Saturday, it's a bit early to say from a field size point of view what it's going to look like, but we'll have to see what the firm ground makes us have to navigate. And then Sunday doesn't look great. So there's 3 UK meetings and a Curragh meeting, but it will be a quiet one. So if we've got quiet Wednesday, quiet Thursday, Friday, hopefully we might get to a full stake. Saturday looks like the only day with potential this week in terms of having any sort of proper nudge at it. And then Sunday we'll see what we can pick out. All right, that is me. I'm now back. When am I back? Friday morning. Possibly again. I'm going to have this debate like I did last time. Should be Friday morning. Outside chance I might do it Thursday night. I'll have to see. Just depends on what's going on. But I know most people appreciate, and there was some very nice comments around. Do I live in some sort of other flat Callum land where there's not 24 hours a day, there's actually 30 hours in a day, because how do I actually manage time to do all of these things in terms of have a life, try and look after children at times, and I have a job outside of this, as a lot of you guys know. So I've had times where I just did this, and I've had times where I've got a job, and I like having a steady income and not necessarily relying on horse racing income. I like horse racing to be a side hustle. That is my preference. But that's just how I prefer the balance of my life. So it is busy, and I try and go out and run and stuff, which is quite difficult when I'm doing this and working and looking after family and that kind of stuff. So the plan is going forward this year just to tactically take a few breaks here and there, so that I can make sure I'm not neglecting my family, and I can do a bit of that. So that is the plan. All right. Thank you very much. So probably Friday morning, maybe Thursday night, but I will let you know after these super late ones, 8:42 and 8:52. All right. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye bye.